Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're tackling a topic that's been making waves in the financial world, blockchain and banking.
Definitely not topic.
Yeah, and we've got some really interesting excerpts from an article titled Blockchain and Banking, a Global Revolution in Progress. We're going to break down what's really going on, and what's particularly cool is that this isn't just theoretical anymore. We're seeing real-world applications popping up all over.
Absolutely.
This article claims over 90% of leading banks worldwide are exploring blockchain initiatives. That's a pretty big number.
It really is, yeah.
So I guess to kick things off, let's talk about the elephant in the room. The article highlights how blockchain was initially dismissed by many in the banking industry. Why was that?
Well, I think, banks were kind of entrenched in their traditional systems. They viewed blockchain as this disruptor, and there were concerns about security, scalability, and regulatory uncertainty, a lot of unknowns.
Makes sense. But then, the article points out that the narrative has completely shifted. It even uses the phrase global revolution. That's some pretty strong language. What changed?
Well, I think several factors were at play. Banks started recognizing the potential benefits, right? Streamlining operations, cutting costs, boosting security, making cross-border payments smoother.
Okay, yeah.
And then you had central banks getting involved, exploring blockchain for digital currencies. That really added fuel to the fire.
Yeah, so the article gives us some concrete examples of this shift. It mentions a whole bunch of countries that are actively using blockchain in banking. Can you hit us with some highlights?
Absolutely. Australia, for instance, is moving its stock exchange to a blockchain-based system.
Wow.
And China is piloting its digital yuan, or DCEP, on a large scale.
Right. And you know what, speaking of the digital yuan, can we pause there for a sec? I think it's worth clarifying for our listeners who might not be familiar with the whole concept of central bank digital currencies.
Yeah.
What exactly is a CBDC, and how is it different from something like Bitcoin?
Great question. So, Bitcoin is a decentralized cryptocurrency, right? Meaning it operates independently of any central authority. A CBDC, on the other hand, like China's digital yuan, is issued and backed by a central bank. It's essentially a digital version of a country's fiat currency.
Okay, that makes sense. So back to these examples, the article also talked about the UAE's digital dirham and some European initiatives, right?
Yeah, exactly. The UAE is really aiming to make Dubai a global crypto hub, and the digital dirham is a key part of that strategy. They're using a hybrid model that combines blockchain with traditional systems, which is interesting. And in Europe, you have the European Union exploring blockchain for interbank settlements, and then individual countries like Lithuania are adopting blockchain for specific banking functions.
So it's not like there's a one-size-fits-all approach,
Yeah.
but overall it seems like the focus is shifting away from blockchain as just the technology behind cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and more towards, well, what?
Yeah, I'd say the focus is really on how blockchain can create a more resilient and efficient financial ecosystem. Think about, for example, the potential for microfinance in developing countries, or the ability to make cross-border payments faster and cheaper.
Yeah, that's huge.
It's about leveraging this technology to solve real-world problems.
It's about more than just Bitcoin. Okay, so that brings us to the big question the article poses at the end. Will traditional banks even exist in the future? Or will we all be self-banking through blockchain?
Well, it's a provocative question for sure, and there are strong arguments on both sides. Some believe that blockchain will completely disintermediate banks, giving individuals more control over their finances. Others argue that banks will adapt and integrate blockchain into their systems, becoming even more efficient and customer-centric.
So it's kind of like we're at a crossroads.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you had to pick, like what would you say is the most important thing for our listener to understand about all of this?
Well, I think the key takeaway here is that blockchain is a powerful force for change in the financial world, period.
Mm.
Whether it leads to the demise of traditional banking or their transformation, it's a technology that we all need to understand. And it's not just about finance, it's about trust, transparency, and how we interact with value in the digital age.
It's really fascinating stuff. And that leads us to our final thought for you to ponder today. If you were a bank CEO right now, what would your blockchain strategy be? Would you embrace it fully, resist it, or find a middle ground? And what are the potential risks and rewards of each path? It's something to think about. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.
See you next time.